Hey folks, welcome back to Fresh Produce. I'm Pete from BTI. Now, we've been doing this video series for quite a long time, several years at this point, and one of our early most watched videos, most popular videos out there, was on a flat pedal comparison. So I wanted to come back and revisit some of those old pedals and include some of the new pedals in our catalog. Now, we have a huge pile of pedals available through the BTI catalog, so I couldn't grab and talk about all of those today. I just focused on some of our best sellers and also some items that we happen to have in stock right now. So I think it's going to offer a really good look, comparing side by side a few features of each design. Now there's so many flat pedals in the catalog, I didn't even want to put them all in one video, even with the kind of paring things down. So today we're going to focus just on the composite flat pedals, and not just all of those, but kind of the higher end composite pedals. So they've got sealed cartridge bearings, they've got replaceable pins. These are really some high performance composite pedals. Getting right in, first of all, we've got the Burgtec Mark IV. These have been around for a little while. They use their proven internals with a really nice seal that they use all in the UK, where they're just battling mud and muck all year round. These have a little bit different shape than some others, with a more strong, firm edge out front and a little step down to give you some clearance for that second layer, the other side of the pedal. Now, these pedals come in at 376 grams and are 100 by 100 in their millimeters in their footbed size. They're a little bit thicker than some others at 18 millimeters, but they do actually have a bit of a concave shape, and they're actually narrowest right around the axle. So as we get into some of these others, you'll find that's somewhat unique out there. I think that's it for the Burgtec, so moving right along. Let's talk about these Crankbrothers Stamp 1s. Now, they actually make these in two different sizes. So we've got a small and a large. The small is recommended for shoe sizes up to size 10, and then the large for 10 and above. So you can really dial this in based on your shoe size, or just disregard that and get what you like, what you think your preference might be on the sides, all right? So a couple of unique points on these guys as well. The small pedal is actually the lightest pedal that I've got here on the table today, one of the lighter flat pedals in our catalog. And the large pedal, it's a little bit heavier, but it's also the largest platform, at least by the specific millimeter numbers compared to the rest out here on the catalog. So for the small one, we've got just 300 grams, and for the large, 329. And we're looking at 100 by 100 millimeters for the Stamp 1 in small, and right around 114 by 114 in the large size. Now, these stamp pedals are also super thin at the front and back. They're just 13 millimeters. So you're gonna get a little extra clearance there, but I will note that that is a trade-off where the center axle is actually standing up above the rest of the pedal. So the pins are gonna stand up above the center axle. You're gonna get good traction there, but you're gonna kind of feel that axle, and you're not gonna get a concave feel to the pedal overall. You'll be standing on the pins with the axle getting close to the same height right in the middle. So something to consider. Super big platform and thin at the front and back with a standard axle right in the middle. All right, compare that with another one of our best sellers. These are the DMR V-11. These guys come in at 450 grams. We're looking at 105 by 105 footbed size. They use a couple of different styles of pins, so a little bit narrower pin at the front and back, and then a slightly thicker pin at the sides. I think that's just going to ease installation and also give a slightly different feel in those positions. Now, DMR does have a ton of other pedals in the catalog, so the V11s are some of our most popular, but they have some other options with different price points, sizes, materials, all that are available. Check them all out, and we'll move right along from the DMR V11. Next in the lineup, we've got the SDG Comp Pedal. They do have some unique details to them. All right, so these come in at 325 grams, and they're 110 by 105 millimeters on the footbed. This pedal is one that you'll see is basically flat from the front to the axle and all the way to the back. So there's really not, they're not taking off a lot of material to make it thin. but the trade-off for that being a pedal that you don't feel the axle quite as much. So something to note for these, and a slight detail that they worked into the pedal. So SDG, a good value, good option there. So moving right along to a pedal I think gets a little bit forgotten out there. It's the Gusset Slim Jim. Like the rest of these pedals, these guys roll on sealed bearings, replaceable pins, similar to some of the others that we'll talk about, but this group of pedals have a really slanted shape to the front, so they're going to glance off those rocks and give you nice clearance when you're rolling through tight sections. They have pretty thin replaceable pins, so those are going to dig into your shoe just maybe a little bit different than some of the thicker pins out there, though they might be slightly less strong. So some trade-offs to think about. Okay, and for weight, these come in at 360 grams, and they're 113 by 114 in footbed size. All right. Now, OneUp is an exclusive to the BTI catalog. These are super popular. We just sell mountains and mountains of OneUp pedals. This comp version here, this one comes in at 355 grams, and it's 115 by 105 millimeters on the footbed size. This is another one that is just slightly thinner at the front and back, and then you have a little bit of the axle bumping up in the center. And then also, a little bit of a unique shape. They cut off do some shaping along the sides, I should say, to improve that clearance through the rocks. All right. And we'll bring this pedal into our other video with the metal pedal and compare the shape and look of the plastic version versus the metal version, because they're very similar with a few different properties. All right, so moving right along, we've got the E13 Base pedal. I kind of wish they chose a different name for this pedal. I don't think it really highlights really what it is, but it's more than just their base bottom of the line. It's a really good quality pedal with some cool features. This one comes in at 399 grams, and it's 110 by 100 millimeters for footbed size. The pins stand a bit taller than some of the others out there, and they've done some unique shaping to the plastic on this as well. So if you look through the center of the pedal here, it's really flat, same thickness at the front, middle, and back. And if you compare at the sides or at the very edges of the pedal, they give a bit of a bump here right around the axle to make room for the bearings and other internals that need to fit inside. But it's not going to influence the feel of the pedal under your foot quite as much as that if the axle was thick all the way through it. So a little more of that concave feeling you can dial in, especially if you remove these two middle pins. Super tall, thin pins like I mentioned on this one, and again, another one with a lot of angle to the front and back of the pedal, so they should glance off rocks quite nicely. Next one in the lineup, Tag Metals has a composite pedal here. I think they use some really cool colors on this one. It's another pedal where the axle section is actually slightly thinner than the front and back, so you're going to get a little bit of that concave feeling to it, and then a nice angle at the front and back as well. These pedals come in at 361 grams, and they are 100 by 100 millimeters for footbed size. All right, last one pedal I brought out today, it's a Tatze pedal, new to our catalog. These guys come in right around that 360 gram size as well. Smooth running bearings and just a good quality composite pedal. Now, I think it's worthwhile, taking a lot of the foot sizes or pedal sizes that I mentioned here with a little grain of salt. Those are mostly the published pedal sizes. So if we hold some of these up to each other, there's really not a huge difference between them. So keep that in mind as you're kind of comparing some of those pedals out on the market. And then also keep in mind that maybe bigger isn't always better for everyone. So if you've tried some pedals in the past, or you have some friends you can swap pedals and give some different, tester sessions with, I think that could be a cool option as you're choosing your next pedal. But there sure are a lot of options out there, and a lot of just details in between them as well. But take into consideration all the different shape aspects of these pedals, and hopefully you got some nice comparisons thinking about overall diameters, shapes, and maybe even the concave shapes, as well as looking at these in side by side. All right, folks, if any of the pedals that you saw on our show today seem like they might work well on your bike, make sure you ask at your local bike shop and tell them BTI sent you. Thanks for watching.